In your opinion, should we hire a consultant or do the dossier's fire prevention and firefighting approval ourselves, and why? The decision to handle fire prevention and fighting documentation in-house or hire a consulting firm depends on the business's capacity, experience, project scale, and the complexity of the FPF system. In most cases, hiring a professional consultant is advantageous. Here are some reasons to consider. 1. High-level expertise and experience. Consulting firms. Professional FPF consulting firms have skilled engineers and experts well-versed in legal regulations, technical standards, and required procedures. They bring practical experience in design, documentation, and troubleshooting during the approval process. In-house, without a specialized FPF team, it can be challenging to ensure accurate and complete documentation, often leading to errors, omissions, and extended approval times. 2. Long-term time and cost savings. Consulting firms. Consultants can complete tasks quickly and efficiently, reducing the preparation and submission time and accelerating approvals. While initial consulting fees may be high, they minimize costs associated with repeated document revisions and adjustments. In-house, handling documentation internally can be time-consuming without a full understanding of the process, especially if regulatory adjustments are required, delaying project progress. 3. Ensured legal compliance. Consulting firms. Consulting companies are familiar with FPF standards, building codes, and safety regulations, ensuring that documentation aligns with current legal requirements. In-house, if a business isn't fully updated, documentation rejections or the need for post-construction corrections. 4. Ability to manage complex situations. Consulting firms. For large, complex projects or those with unique challenges such as fire risk or large-scale buildings, consultants can provide appropriate, innovative solutions that meet stringent standards. In-house. For complex projects, attempting documentation without expertise often compromises efficiency and safety. Conclusion. For smaller, simpler projects and businesses with FPS expertise, handling documentation in-house may be a cost-effective choice. However, for large, complex projects or businesses without in-depth FPF knowledge, hiring a consulting firm ensures high-quality documentation, legal compliance, and faster project approval. What is the relationship between dossier's fire prevention and firefighting approval documents? Construction design and construction permit. The construction permit application and the fire prevention and fighting approval application are closely related as both are mandatory legal procedures to ensure the building meets safety standards and complies with regulations. Here is how these two documents are connected. 1. Mandatory requirement in the construction permit process. By law, certain types of buildings, especially high-rises, commercial centers, factories, warehouses, etc., must obtain FPF approval before applying for a construction permit. Without a compliant FPF file, a construction permit cannot be issued. The construction permit application must include documentation proving that the building has been reviewed and approved by FPF authorities, ensuring the entire construction process meets fire safety standards. 2. Ensuring design compliance with FPF standards. During the design phase, architects and engineers must incorporate FPF standards and requirements into the design drawings to create a structure that meets both construction and fire safety requirements. The construction permit application should include a design that integrates FPF systems like fire escapes, alarm systems, suppression systems, and fire partitions. This ensures the building meets FPF standards from the design phase, reducing the need for redesign after obtaining a construction permit. 3. Coordination among regulatory agencies. The FPF approval application generally requires approval from the fire department or local FPF authority before the construction permit can be submitted to the construction authority. This ensures the building meets fire safety requirements and doesn't pose risks to people and property upon completion. This process necessitates coordination between FPF and construction authorities to align legal requirements and ensure the project fully complies from the start. 4. Minimizing risks and adjustments during construction. With both applications approved, the project can proceed as planned with the concerns about adding or adjusting FPF system later. If there is a lack of alignment between the construction and FPF applications, the project may need to halt or alter designs, leading to additional costs and delays. Conclusion: the construction permit application and FPF approval application directly complement each other, ensuring that the project meets both construction and fire safety standards. Preparing and coordinating both applications simultaneously accelerates project approvals, upholds safety standards from the design phase, and mitigates the risk of modifications during construction. How much do you think it costs to conduct dozier's fire prevention and firefighting approval? What percentage of the total investment does it account for? In my review, the cost of preparing fire prevention and fighting documentation depends on factors such as the scale, type of building, complexity of the FPF system, and specific requirements for regulatory authorities. Typically, this cost includes key components like FPF system design, approval and acceptance processes, as well as the purchase and installation of equipment. The cost for FPF documentation approval and acceptance generally represents 1 to 5% of the project's total investment, varying based on several factors. Investing in a fully compliant FPF system is crucial to ensure the building's safety and legal compliance. Do you often have to lobby for police when conducting dozier's fire prevention and firefighting approval? What do you think about it? In my previous company, I was not directly involved in working with the fire prevention and fighting department on this matter. However, I learned that for most projects, in addition to legal mandated fees, there is often unofficial fees for fire safety approval and inspection, which lacks transparency. According to Vietnamese law, Fire safety review and approval are conducted by the Fire Prevention and Fighting Department, and official fees are clearly outlined, required to be submitted probably through the bank or state treasury. These fees include those for review and inspection, determined based on the project size and type and regulated by the government, with no additional fees beyond these. However, in practice, if unofficial fees arise during the administrative procedures, it constitutes a legal violation and compromises the transparency and fairness for the fire safety approval process. These unofficial fees create a financial burden for businesses and undermine trust in the public safety management system. How will you coordinate departments when performing dossiers, fire prevention, and firefighting approval? Would you handle it when one of your departments refuses to coordinate work? As the project coordinator for fire safety approval, I focus on planning, coordinating relevant departments, and ensuring both progress and quality. Here's the breakdown of the key steps and my approach if any department refuses to cooperate. Clear planning and task assignment. Define fire safety approval requirements at the project outset, including necessary documents, steps, and timelines. Assign specific tasks to each department: technical, finance, legal, administration, etc., with clear responsibilities and deadlines to avoid misunderstandings. 2. Establish effective communication channels. Hold regular meetings. Schedule regular progress update meetings with representatives from all involved departments to address issues. Set up open communication channels. Use email, project management software, or online work groups to enable updates, feedback, and task tracking for all parties. Motivate and share the benefits of collaboration. Emphasize the importance of fire safety approval. Ensure everyone understands that fire safety documentation is a legal requirement that also safeguards the project and team. Share benefits. When the project is completed on schedule or to standard, all departments gain, including the team reputation and shared success. Handling refusal to cooperate. Identify reasons. Meet privately with the department head to listen to and understand their reasons for refusal, such as resource or time constraints or feeling insufficient authority. Provide necessary support. If refusal is due to lack of resources or technical issues, I will consider additional support. For example, personnel, budget, or time to help them fulfill their role. Persuade and gain commitment. Emphasize that cooperation is critical for timely approval, and refusal could impact the entire project, affecting both timeline. Escalate to higher management if needed. If the issue remains unresolved, I will report to senior management for direct guidance, clearly presenting how the lack of cooperation impacts the project and suggesting specific solutions for swift decision-making. I proactively address them by understanding the cause, offering support, fostering consensus. If internal resolution fails, senior management intervention will be the final step to ensure the project's progress and success. The difference between high-rise and low-rise buildings in dossiers, fire prevention, and firefighting approval. Fire safety documentation requirements differ significantly between high-rise and low-rise buildings, mainly due to stricter safety standards for high-rise structures. Below are the key differences. 1. Fire protection system design requirements. High-rise buildings require more complex fire protection systems due to higher fire risks and evacuation challenges. High-rise buildings require more complex fire protection systems due to higher fire risks and evacuation challenges. High-rises need automatic fire suppression systems like sprinklers, fire alarms, ventilation, smoke extraction, and safe escape stairwells. Fire alarm systems must connect across floors for effective fire detection and control. Low-rise buildings generally have simpler requirements, often without automatic fire suppressions or complex smoke ventilation, especially in smaller, low-rise structures. However, fire alarms and suitable fire extinguishers are still necessary. 2. Emergency access requirements. High-rise buildings require multiple emergency access and separate stairwells with smoke and fire barriers to ensure safety. Access must be fireproof, maintain positive pressure to block smoke, and have backup lighting. Low-rise buildings have less stringent exit requirements, usually requiring 1 or 2 exits based on size and design. Smoke protection systems are not as rigorous as in high-rise buildings. 3. Equipment and fire suppression systems. High-rise buildings must have powerful fire pumps capable of supplying water to all floors, along with automatic suppression systems and fire stations on each floor. Ensuring water pressures and timely response is crucial for all levels. Low-rise buildings. Basic fire suppression systems like extinguishers or localized fire hose are often adequate due to easier access and quicker fire containment. 4. Approval process. High-rise buildings go through thorough and complex review processes, including multiple inspections from fire safety authorities. Detailed documentation is required, covering design plans, equipment certifications, escape routes, fire suppression, and smoke control systems. Low-rise buildings. Approval processes can be simpler, depending on the building type and use. Basic documentation such as fire safety design plans and equipment lists may suffice. 5. Cost and documentation time. High-rise buildings, due to complex requirements and multiple systems, preparation, review, and approval costs and time are considerably higher. Low-rise buildings, lower costs and shorter timelines due to simpler system and design requirements. Conclusion. High-rise fire safety documentation demands complex safety systems and rigorous inspections due to increased fire risks and evacuation challenges, while low-rise buildings have simpler requirements aligned with their lower risk levels and easier evacuation. Is the dossier's fire prevention and firefighting approval often behind schedule? What is the reason? Fire safety documentation often faces delays for various reasons. Here are some common causes. 1. Incomplete or insufficient documentation. Cause. Fire safety approval requires extensive documents, including technical drawings, fire safety equipment certifications, and escape plans. Missing or non-compliant documentation leads to requests for resubmission, causing delays. Solution: conduct thorough checks before submission, considering hiring a professional consultant if necessary. Design changes during project execution. Cause: challenges in building design, layout, or mechanical systems can alter fire safety requirements, necessitating documentation adjustments and causing delays. Ensure designs are finalized and stable before submitting fire safety documentation, minimizing changes afterwards. 3. Lack of coordination between departments. Cause: fire safety processes involve multiple departments, from design to finance and project management. Delays occur if a department fails to meet deadlines or coordinate closely. Solution: establish clear schedules and assign specific responsibilities to each department. 4. Complex review process and long processing times. Cause: fire safety authorities conduct thorough inspections, especially for large and complex projects. Approval involves multiple steps and may be delayed due to high review volumes. Solution: submit documentation early and monitor the process closely, proactively communicating with authorities to address any issues promptly. 5. Insufficient staffing or expertise in document preparation. Cause: if the team lacks sufficient fire safety expertise, documentation may be incomplete or non-compliant, requiring multiple revisions. Solution: hire professional fire safety consultants to ensure compliance from the start, reducing the risk of delays. Conclusion: fire safety documentation delays stem from various causes, such as incomplete preparation and complex review processes. Detailed planning, comprehensive documentation, and a clear understanding of regulatory requirements can help reduce the risk of delays. What are dossiers for fire prevention and firefighting approval? A fire prevention and firefighting approval dossier is a comprehensive collection of documents and plans submitted to authorities to demonstrate that a building or facility meets all fire safety standards and requirements. This dossier includes essential items such as technical drawings, certifications for firefighting equipment, escape plans, and other safety protocols specific to the building structure and intended use. For high-rise buildings, these dossiers are more complex due to heightened fire risks and evacuation challenges. They require detailed planning for systems like automatic sprinklers, smoke ventilation, pressurized staircases, and multiple escape routes. In contrast, low-rise buildings generally have simpler fire safety requirements, with fewer or no demands for complex systems like automatic sprinklers or smoke management. The dossier undergoes a review process, often requiring coordination across various departments, design, finance, and project management, to ensure accuracy and compliance with fire safety regulations. Approval can be delayed if there are missing documents, design changes, or if the fire safety authority requests additional compliance measures.